The Social Security numbers for every American may be at risk after a massive data breach. Fox News correspondent Dana Marie McNichol has more. Let's watch.
Nearly 3 billion personal information records, including names, social security numbers, and addresses, reportedly exposed in what could be the largest data breach in history. The information stolen from National Public Data, a company that collects and sells access to personal information, which is then used by other organizations to obtain things like background checks and criminal records.
We didn't give permission for them to collect that data. We can go opt out if we know the company exists, but there's hundreds of data collection companies out there.
According to a lawsuit filed against NPD, the hackers leaked the information on the dark web, selling it for $3.5 million.
I think people should be very upset about this. They should ask, why is this company, why do they have all of that information? And when they had it, who was making sure that they were protecting it?
The scale of this breach is so extensive that if you live in the U.S., it's likely that some of your data is included. So what can you do? Take simple measures like monitoring your credit report for fraudulent activity, managing your passwords using two-factor authentication when possible, and freezing your credit, which can help prevent scammers from taking out loans or opening new credit cards in your name.
Too few people do the basics right, and so we just make it really easy for cyber criminals to attack us.
In addition to the United States, the hackers in this breach claim that the information was also stolen from people in the UK and Canada. In Miami, Dana Marie McNichol, Fox News.
Dana Marie, thanks so much. So for more on what this means and any advice for people out there who are wondering, was I swept up in this hack? We're going to bring into the conversation our friend Fox News contributor, Kurt Knutson, the cyber guy. He joins us. Kurt, thanks so much for being with us here. I know you've been following this pretty closely. This is really staggering. Really don't know where to start with this. Okay, how about this? Who did it? Who are the hackers?
Andrew, good question. We know that it's one sort of new hacker to the terrain of doing these kind of breaches. And what's highly unusual is normally they want to hold this hostage and make a lot of money off of it. This instead was just offered for free. So that's even worse for all of us. So in terms of hacks that we have followed in the past, this breach really is about the largest I have ever witnessed. So it goes like this. Am I affected? Well, if you're an American, yeah, pretty much every American's going to be touched by this. And then the question is, how did this happen? How is it that NPD has our data? And, somebody in Dana Marie's story said, oh, I never gave them permission. Well, the chances are you did. But none of us read that fine print. So now we're all sort of stuck in this world where we've said yes to a million things when we download an app or we sign up for a website, on and on. So Andrew, today, what you really want to do is look at how do I extract myself from this? And that's really the trend when you see something like this. The advice is great. Watch your credit reports right now. Okay. Watch them like a hawk, because if something else is going to happen, you'll see it there. And then in terms of somebody getting a hold of your social security number, who else is going to post it online and where else is it going to go? And the question is also, how do you remove yourself from the internet? There are data removal services. We've rated the top ones online at cyberguy.com that we follow. And then also, how do you then in the future know when these breaches happen? Of course, you can subscribe to our newsletter where we send out alerts, but there's even, better alerts that come from the companies that monitor if somebody is doing anything with your identity online. And those services, again, you have to subscribe to them, but there's some really good ones that are out there. They're not that expensive. Okay. And again, we rated the best of those. So watch your credit, watch phishing scams that come in your direction. If you didn't ask for it, don't click on it. It's those common rules.
Yeah. Kurt, I wanted to ask, because it just seems like, and maybe you agree, that we're seeing these massive data breaches and hacks with more regularity, more frequency, on a really more massive scale than we have before. Are you confident in the safeguards that are out there right now to prevent getting your data swept up into something like this? Are they strong enough, or do they need to be stronger?
Andrew, they need to be stronger, and it's a really good point you're making, because have you noticed, if you have an iPhone or you have an Android, you notice how quickly and how more frequently you're being pushed a software update that's kind of urgent when it happens, saying, hey, you need to update this. There's a security thing. We're not going to tell you what it is because we don't want to tip the hackers off, but you better update your phone. So when that's happening with this level of frequency, the question is, what are you doing to protect yourself? Because they're not protecting you from the big tech areas of the world, and our government certainly is not protecting us well. So it's really up to you and your family. So my advice is always this: what are you doing to make yourself resilient? The number one thing you can do is have antivirus protection on not just one device, not on like just one person's laptop in the family, but on every single device. And that way, that'll really bolster your ability to keep out these bad guys. For example, when you have good protection and somebody tries to get to you and say it's a phishing scam and it's a link and it looks so real and they're using AI, so we're getting fooled more regularly. Well, when you go to click that link, good protection will stop the link from even going through, because they'll have identified that. So it's really about, you're getting on a boat now and you know the boat's going to sink at some point. Gosh. Well, you better have a life jacket.
Okay, what about the people who say, what would someone want my social security number for? Why do people want my data? Is that the posture to take when people are seemingly, they think, immune from anything like this? Even if they are caught up in a data breach like this, well, no one's going to do anything with it. What do you say to those people?
Number one reason they want our data, especially a social security number, is really financial. They want to take money from us in one way or another. It may not happen tomorrow, but they're going to build a database that then has some value, and they're either going to sell our stuff to somebody else in a big lump of other stolen stuff, or it has to do with espionage. It has to do with a foreign actor trying to get a hold of Americans' data in such a way that you could then understand, what would I need to say and do to get Andrew to act in a certain way? So that's happening to all of us. We don't know that it's happening because it's so well tailored using AI that, it's just like TikTok. We're clicking on videos because they know what we're going to click on, and they're showing us the videos where it's not like we went and fished out a video.
Right.
So it's those algorithms that aren't working necessarily in our favor.
Okay.
They may to entertain us with a happy cat video, but then it's really just too much information that's getting out there. And with AI, they can take the data, little pieces of our life, and put that together and really come up with something that's a powerful weapon against all of us.
All right, Shalom. I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Double salutations to all you Akim out there laboring, the house of David, the elect, that's pushing this word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom to you, brothers. And shalom to the elect. I'm back with another quick lesson through the Holy Spirit, the Rakakwadash. And I pray that this lesson is informative and also edifying. Jumping right into this thing, it says 2.7 billion records leaked in massive U.S. data breach. And they said that this is the largest data breach in history. All right. And this is a major problem, as they said, for all Americans. All right. Because all these things, as I go through these lessons, all these things are being intentionally done. All right. Remember, they had the cyber attack, the IT failure with the CrowdStrike, which affected hospitals, airports, grocery stores, banks. All right. So they're setting up the format for the ultimate transition. All right. Remember, they got to get rid of the old and bring in the new. So all roads, once again, lead to the M-0TB. All right. They have to come with a better system, if you will, that's going to, protect the so-called American people. All right. And this is the scheme that they're using. All right. As I want to touch on something because, there was a post from somebody that left a comment on one of my posts here. All right. This person at CEO 911, and he posted the link, which we're going to pull up here. He said, please watch from 14 minutes to 17-minute mark, where he's talking about where he's talking what the breach is leading to. All right, and this Social Security breach is going to lead to a new digital identification system, which is going to be the M-0TB system. All right, real quick, this is Proverbs chapter 22 verse 3, and it reads, it says, a prudent man foreseeth the evil. See that? A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. Right. So a man of wisdom, a prudent man, is going to foresee the evil. We see, that this breach and these cyber attacks and these hacks and these data leaks are going to lead to a new system being implemented. All right. So it says foreseeth. Right. I just want to grab that word. It says to see, look at, inspect, perceive, consider. To see, have vision. All right. You got to have the vision. All right. It says to see, observe, consider, look at, give attention to, discern, distinguish. Right. So you have to have the discernment to see how this thing is getting ready to play out, man. All right. It's definitely leading to a new digital ID system, which is going to consist of this, everything being tied to the M-0TB. And I'm going to make a point on that from the comment that I got here from this brother that he left on my post. So let's just make this point real quick, just to show you that everybody sees the new digital ID system coming, which is going to be that M-0TB system. All right. So we're going to start here at 9 minutes and 56 seconds because he's going to explain, the outcome of this Social Security data breach that affected over, 2.7 billion Americans. This is a big deal. All right.
So you got a better understanding as to what's going on. Just real quick before we go into how the federal groups will deal with this, there's a couple of things you need to know. There's ways that you can establish legal grounds to go against basically a company that has essentially lost data that was tied to the federal government. There's breach of contract, there's negligence, there's violation of state and federal privacy laws, there's consumer protection laws, and then of course invasion of privacy against the Constitution. Now, with that said, class action lawsuits, that's what everybody uses in these situations because it's so massive. You'll all end up being part of it to some degrees, so long as you can basically, be accepted into it, or if they require it, potentially show harm that resulted from it, which, just so you know what a plaintiff must prove. The company had a duty to protect their private information. The company breached that duty. The breach directly caused harm to the plaintiff, and the plaintiff suffered actual damages as a result of the breach. Then you can get damages like compensatory damages, statutory damages, punitive damages. That's when they really screw up. And I think that's probably applicable here because they didn't tell anybody what happened. And injunctive relief. Okay. Those are the different types of options. Now, there is trial or settlement. Might go to mediation, might go to arbitration, might go to litigation, can settle at any point throughout the process. However, here's what's likely to happen. None of that stuff through the traditional court system. I think it will be picked up by, you guessed it, the Federal Trade Commission. As you know, in 2017, Equifax, right? Equifax, they had a big whoops, a huge whoops. Not as big as this one, but a big one nonetheless. Equifax data breach settlement. Important settlement update. The settlement administrator has begun sending out payments for out-of-pocket losses, time spent claims, and other cash benefits. You will get your payment in the method you choose by check, prepaid card, or PayPal payment. Here's the bottom line. In September of 2017, and we're mirroring off of this one because this is like a big breach, a big hack, a big leak, if you will. Not as big as the current one. The current one's just epic. The current one's, it's everything. You know what I mean? It's everything. It's like the Rosetta Stone of privacy information for all these different people. Like it's something you would expect to see on like the Blacklist, TV show where they're like, who has the magic list? This is the magic list. In September of 2017, Equifax announced a data breach that exposed the personal information of 147 million people. The company has agreed to a global settlement with the Federal Trade Commission, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and 50 U.S. states and territories. The settlement includes up to $425 million to help people affected by the data breach. The deadline to file a claim was January 22nd, 2024. The settlement administrator continues to review the issue benefits for identity theft and fraud claims related to the breach. Even if you do not file a claim, you can get certain things included with